needing gratification, needing company, needing external validation for some kind of internal fulfillment. And when you go without any kind of talking to someone or being validated by your partner or your boss or whatever, the walls come crashing down. You just don't love yourself, you don't accept yourself, you're not proud of who you are. You're very vulnerable to the external influence, and this is so common that everyone I've spoken to has fallen into it, and even myself. I remember back in the day, not too long ago, that I always was ringing friends. I never wanted to have a weekend where I didn't have any plans, or that's why I was always in a relationship as well, is because I always needed company and needed just to be with someone. Otherwise, if I was left to myself, things didn't go too well. And if you know my story, you know very well what happened. So, I sympathise, because it's common. It's part of our makeup. Now, how do we fix it? We have to learn to start to get comfortable with ourselves. And no, it's not comfortable to do that if you're not used to it. It's quite uncomfortable, in fact. But you need to motivate yourself and set the time, just like you set the time to go to the gym. You need to set that solitude, set that time to be by yourself, to reflect, to, spend that quality time with yourself. And over time, learn that, hey, I am pretty cool. Like, I'm not that bad after all. And in fact, I can talk to myself and I can tell myself how good I am, and that I don't need my partner or my boss or my parents or my friends to love me. I don't need them to tell me that, because I love myself, right? This is a skill, it's a habit, it's a practice, right? It's something that you have to go out of your way to do, right? But let it be known that the benefits of becoming your own best friend, of validating yourself, of really being your own mentor, is that you no longer are at the whim of having to have people around you. So you can start to be very selective with who you want around you. And if Jim Rohn is correct, and I believe he is, and he says we're the sum of the 5 people that we hang around, well, you're able to choose who you want to hang around with, because you're not having to just accept who's there already, because you don't want to get rid of them, because you'll be by yourself, and you just accept with what you've got because you don't want to, out of fear of being left on your own. Well, when you overcome the fear of being on your own, eventually what happens is you get to hand choose who you want in your circle, so that the sum of your life improves and the people in your life are uplifting and go into mature relationships where you start to think big, you start to think possibilities, you start to think abundance, you start to make big bold goals, right? You start to completely revolutionize your mindset. That only happens when the people around you have been hand selected, because you're not in a rush to select them. Because let me tell you something, to choose high quality people is very hard, because there's not many around. It's the truth. So, I've gone, a long part of my journey so far has gone solo, and you get rid of the dead weight and you're left on your own. But you have to be self-sufficient. You have to be very comfortable with yourself for a long time, and that's a learned skill. And the benefit of it, the fruits of that labor, not only do you start to attract good quality people, not only do you start to manifest a kick-ass life, you actually start to realize what's important, what do you like. You become very focused, you become very disciplined, and you actually start to change the outcome in your life single-handedly, one by one, because mediocrity leaves you and you're sick of just settling for okay, settling for a relationship that's just good enough, settling for a job that's just good enough. No, you start to get repulses you to just settle. And when you spend enough time with yourself, you start to be like, fuck this, I want better, I want more. that only happens by putting in the time, putting in the work, and being bold enough to be on your own.